At the end of a racing weekend in Formula 1, inevitably there are of course winners and there are losers. But who has come out on top in Saudi Arabia and who has more work to be done when it comes to their report card? Here at GPFans, these are our winners and losers from the last race in the Kingdom. Just a reminder before we get into it, follow us on GPFans Global on Twitter and Instagram to stay up to date with all of the latest breaking news when it comes to the world of Formula 1. But now, who won, who lost in Jeddah? After the heartbreak of Bahrain, Verstappen kicked off his 2022 Drivers' World Championship campaign with his first race win of the season. However, that victory didn't exactly fall into his lap. Verstappen had to pull out all the stops to pass and clear Charles Leclerc in the final few laps. It wasn't until the third time of asking that he got past the Monegasque driver and actually managed to hold on to the lead. George Russell won't be going overboard with his celebrations for a 5th place finish for Mercedes, but the young British driver made the most of what he's got in the race on Sunday. Before the race, he said that 5th place would be the best he could get, and that's exactly what he and Mercedes came away with. The points are important as well for the constructor, especially while they continue to try to make upgrades to the W13 to keep it competitive with the big two who've started the season so well in Red Bull and Ferrari. 7th place is not something that the McLaren team would have taken with a smile before the start of the season, but compared to what the British powerhouse showed in Bahrain, Saudi Arabia was a huge improvement. Lando Norris took the first points for the team this year with 7th place after a clean race at the street circuit. Pipped by Esteban Ocon to the line for 6th, it could have been even better, but it's a dramatic improvement from what we saw in the opening race for sure. Talking of Ocon, he too can be considered a winner this week. The Alpine driver has started the season with 2 top 7 finishes, showing that the result in Bahrain was no fluke. In the opening stages of this weekend's race, he and teammate Fernando Alonso went toe-to-toe in an exciting but clean battle. However, he was ordered to stop attacking by his team, after which the chasing Valtteri Bottas took advantage and stole 7th position. In the end, Ocon was able to pull himself back up through the pack and finish 6th, collecting 8 important points for Alpine. Starting with the most unlucky one, Sergio Perez takes the top spot. The Red Bull Racing driver surprised everyone on Saturday by trumping both Verstappen and the Ferrari duo in the battle for pole position. On Sunday, he got off to a good start, after which he led the race in a very controlled manner during the first stint. However, a safety car immediately after the Mexican driver came in for his first pit stop pulled him all the way back down the order to 4th. Perez may well have been grumpy with how his weekend turned out, but if this was a hint of what's to come for the rest of the season, we will get to see a lot of great things from the veteran driver. It was not a weekend to write home about for Lewis Hamilton. After a disastrous Saturday qualifying, he had to start the Grand Prix from 15th position on the grid. In the context of damage limitation, the 7-time world champion started the race on the hard tyre. That strategy seemed to work out well for a large period of time. At one point, Hamilton was all the way up to 7th place, but later on in the race, a virtual safety car came on. Now, this should have offered the British driver a chance for a free pit stop, but poor communication with his team meant that he was called in too late. His chance was lost because the pit lane was closed after the incumbent McLaren of Daniel Ricciardo was blocking the entry. In the end, the Mercedes driver was able to salvage something, a 10th place finish for a single point. Hamilton, though, so unused to being this far down the order, didn't even know that he would get points for finishing that low. After an impressive weekend in Bahrain, Alfa Romeo in Saudi Arabia looked again set for a really good result. However, nowhere can the tide turn so quickly as in motorsport. Zhou Guanyu got off to a terrible start, ran into a 5-second time penalty, and then his team failed to apply this correctly during his pit stop, and the Chinese driver was awarded a drive-through penalty as well to complete the capitulation. Valtteri Bottas was again in the points for most of the race, but suddenly had to pull over due to an overheated engine. Bad news and a bad weekend for Alfa Romeo. After Fernando Alonso emerged as the winner of the duel between he and teammate Esteban Ocon, the 2-time world champion appeared to be heading for a 6th place finish, a great result for the Alpine team. However, on lap 36, the Spaniard was helpless as his power unit suddenly gave up. Alonso was on for a fantastic race up until that point, and would almost certainly have finished well in the points. Finally, we come to the British constructor Williams. They're not having a good start to 2022. Apart from the fact that their car seems to belong near the back of the grid once more, the team had a dramatic weekend in Jeddah. Nicholas Latifi managed to lose a battle with the walls of the street circuit on both Saturday and Sunday, while teammate Alexander Albon was credited with a DNF 3 laps before the end of the race after a failed dive up the inside of Lance Stroll. Not only did Albon have the DNF, but the Williams driver now receives a 3-place grid penalty for the Australian Grand Prix next month as well. It just gets worse and worse, doesn't it? So who are the big winners and losers for you coming out of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix? Is Formula one of those losers after everything that took place off the track in the kingdom this weekend just gone? Let us know in the comments section below, and of course hit the subscribe button to stay with us here at GPFans.